Hello everyone and welcome to the Manifesting House, where we discuss easy, effective methods you'll want to commit to. These last few months that I've spent here in the Manifesting House have been blissful. I've really enjoyed learning and creating content on this subject matter. Spirituality and manifesting are topics I love to talk about and explore, and it's even more fun when there are others just as fascinated by it all in my circle. Enter in you. I truly am grateful to have you all here, and I'm thankful you love the content that I love making. I really do feel incredibly inspired at this moment to formally introduce myself to you. I don't think I've done that yet. I know each week you guys hear my voice, and we sometimes have conversations in the comment section or sometimes in the Instagram DMs, since I recently started the new Instagram account. But I don't think you've ever actually met me, ever actually seen my face in a video. So, hello, I'm Chelsea, and it's very nice to meet you. Going forward with this channel, you may see me more and more on occasion, or perhaps in every video if you prefer this person-to-person format as opposed to just the voiceovers. I trust you'll let me know in the comments section down below which format you prefer. Today I have 3 success stories for you, all on the topic of manifesting money. During the reading of these stories, you'll hear of the exact techniques and methods used by these individuals to manifest more money into their lives, as well as the thought processes that went into making their understanding of the law of attraction or the law of assumption more clear. And without further delay, these are your stories. So, about a week ago, I decided that I wanted to manifest $1,000. I didn't know how or from where. My ego wanted to figure out where it could appear from, but alas, I told myself to cut the crap and not to worry about the means. I started visualizing a scene where I would pull a check out of my back pocket. I made sure to feel for the touch and the texture of the paper in my jeans. I then pull it out and read the check line for line, my name, the amount written in words, and the amount written in numbers. Then I imagined myself grabbing a pen, going over to a table and signing the back of the check. I would then pull out my phone and deposit it through the bank app because I knew that's how I would do it in real life. I then went through the process in my head of taking a front and back picture of the check. I submitted the deposit, and then I would wait till the app told me that it was a successful deposit. All of this taking place in my imagination. I did this a few times, mixed with some added affirmations whenever I could remember. It was really only just a few times, and then I let it go and I just allowed it to be. Well, today I had a work meeting, and the managing partner told us that we are all receiving an unexpected appreciation bonus. So not only did I receive my $1,000, but I actually received more than that amount. I honestly have chills right now. I'm so grateful and I'm so happy. Even though I know that the law of attraction is real, each time something manifests, I'm still shocked. Now, I can't say whether I'd call this a success story or not, but it's been on my mind lately, and I figured I'd share my story with people who might want to listen to it. A bit of a backstory first, though. I am Australian, but at the time I was living in Canada. I had recently moved from the West Coast, British Columbia, to Montreal with my girlfriend at the time. The pay rates in my industry were substantially lower, and the tax rates were higher than what I was dealing with on the West Coast, so I was struggling a bit to make ends meet. It got to the point where I was down to my last $10. I was starving, having not eaten for a couple days because I didn't want to tell my girlfriend how much I was struggling. Asking her to buy me food and basic things was kind of humiliating for me, and so I avoided it, and honestly, I prefer to starve. As I mentioned before, I only now had $10 to my name, but on this cold winter evening, I decided, and I actually said out loud, If this is my last $10, I'm not going to spend it on anything silly like cigarettes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spend it on food. I'm going to spend it on McDonald's. Now, having traveled the world, McDonald's is generally a familiar memory in a foreign place that helps me to, I guess you could say, ground myself and remind me that I'm really not that far away from my home. And if it came to it, I'd be more than capable to get home to Australia in some way. McDonald's reminds me of home. So off I went, trudging through the snowdrifts and the merciless wind in negative 20 degrees Celsius temperatures. Finally, I made it to McDonald's and I ordered all the food I could, just the food, for the $10 I had, knowing that I could just ask for water or I could drink out of the washroom. I devoured every last morsel and, once full at last, warm and ready to head back out, fully knowing I was officially, completely, and utterly broke, I left. I started to walk home in that cold Canadian winter. It was a half-an-hour walk at least. Not having any credit left on my bus pass and not wanting to illegally jump the metro, I just simply made my way in the right direction, walking. While I was walking, I was talking out loud, but only to myself. Not loud enough for anyone to hear what I was really saying, but even this was definitely out of the norm for me. However, as I began to become more aware of what I was saying and how I was truly feeling, I was shocked. Instead of feeling anxiety and fear over now being officially broke, I was actually speaking of how good it would be if I found a stack of cash right now, or how good would it be if I found $100 right now. Remarkably, I was more calm now than I ever had been before. All of a sudden, these vivid images of myself walking flashed into my mind as if I were behind myself. Try to follow me here. But my vision focused in front of me on a pile of leaves, wet from the snow, and sitting on the edge of these leaves was a $100 Canadian note. Now, anyone that knows Canadian currency will know that the $100 note has a brown tinge and it could easily be mistaken for a leaf if it were surrounded by leaves. But nonetheless, there it was, $100. I was gobsmacked. I searched a pile of leaves under the cars parked around the area and even in a couple of mailboxes nearby to see if I could find any more money, but that was the only one I visualized, the only one that manifested. Still to this day, I can't truly know whether I was just insanely lucky that day or if I somehow managed to physically manifest 100 Canadian dollars before my very eyes as I walked home, completely broke. What are your thoughts? There was this time about 2 years ago when my life was basically a mess. Things were not going the way I hoped and I couldn't find a way out. I was in university and I didn't like it. I wasn't aware of the law of attraction at that point in my life until I met this girl who told me a lot about it. The secret, manifestation, and spirituality. She was really into this. To me, all of this was new and therefore fascinating. Though I didn't really care that much about it, I was just being social, and if I'm being honest, I was mainly just trying to smoke weed, for which she always provided. My life wasn't aligned at all, and at some point, I stopped attending my classes completely. I hid this from my parents. I hid this from everyone. I knew I was doing something wrong. And my excuse was my depression, which, depressed, I actually was at the time, but many times I over-exaggerated it. I was so unhappy I would smoke from morning to evening and I barely ate. I didn't visit home for months, which wasn't normal because home from my university was an hour bus ride. Before this negative spell in my life, I would visit my family every weekend. So it was during this crisis that I decided to consider learning about what my friend had told me. I started watching videos and reading books about manifesting, the law of attraction, the law of assumption, alignment, and everything pertaining to this topic. I started meditating as well and trying to be as positive as I could. I didn't quit weed, but I would meditate high. It wasn't much, honestly, but I believed it was raising my vibration. My lifestyle still wasn't sustainable at all. I'd spend money carelessly and then just be broke. I would be in my room most of the time and I didn't have much of a life. I used to teach freelance violin and guitar, and I remember a specific day. It was a Saturday morning. I was scheduled by an outsourcing company to teach a lesson. I had only enough fare for just one trip to my destination, and I could have declined this gig, but I took it because I desperately needed the money. As I traveled on the bus to this job, the realization of now being completely broke came upon me, but I tried my best to suspend all fear. I arrived to my gig. I taught my client, completed my lesson, and began to head back home. I knew I didn't have enough money for the 2 buses I needed to take to get to where I was going, and then for a moment, the panic began to set in as I finally, fully understood that I was now effectively stranded and completely broke. This was a moment that I decided to try manifesting. As I sat on the first bus, I began to talk to myself to help soothe and script what I wanted to happen. All I said and believed was that once I got to my next stop, I would just find money waiting for me on the pavement, and that I could use this money to get board on my second bus. During the entire bus ride, I meditated on this and I talked myself into believing it. I believed this so much that once I exited my first stop onto the platform, I began confidently searching for the money at the exact spot I imagined it to be. This will sound absolutely illogical, but I promise you it's true. I found the exact amount of money in coins that I expected to receive, and it was just as much as I needed to get home. I was so grateful. I couldn't believe that this was even possible. This was the incident that proved to me that the law was real. I have only ever told one person about this story, but now I'm sharing it with you. I hope this inspires you to get into consciously manifesting. I myself am about to dive even deeper. I'm going to learn and practice as much as I can so that I may truly manifest the life of my dreams. And with that being said, thank you for watching this video. I truly do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I trust you'll give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more content just like this one. How did you like today's success stories? Which one was your favorite? Between visualization and affirmation, which technique have you experienced more success with? I trust you'll let me know in the comment section down below. And until then, I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Toodles.